give it up to the youth. Loyal to the squad if we win or we lose. It is in our veins, that orange and the green running through and through. Cause you know we run it, your squad versus ours, now they don't really want it. Authentic bitch deep with pros in abundance, get ready for the storm cause the hurricane's coming. Let's give it up to the youth. Loyal to the squad if we win or we lose. It is in our veins, that orange and the green running through and through. Cause you know we run it, your squad versus ours, now they don't really want it. Authentic bitch deep with pros in abundance, get ready for the storm cause the hurricane's coming.
The Miami Hurricanes fell short to the Florida State Seminoles today by a score of 27-20 with a pretty exciting game overall. The Miami Hurricanes started freshman quarterback Emory Williams, who showed much poise than he did in his start against Clemson. But the game was pretty much back and forth, very tight, defensive. Couple of big plays here and there. 38-yard run by Trey Benson for Florida State. Then Miami turned around and hit a 85-yard bomb to Jacoby George. But Florida State took the lead early on. Then they went up 10-0. Then Miami battled back. They missed a field goal early on in the game, but Miami showed poise. They didn't get rattled. They allowed their defense to keep them in the game, which their defense did very excellent today. Shut down Florida State where they much needed. But unfortunately, some of the receivers, only George had the biggest day. Xavier Strepper really didn't have anything. He missed some passes that I felt like he should have caught across the middle. We didn't get a chance to get the ball to Kobe Young as much as we would like to, but at the same time, Kobe Young, stay relevant in the game. I mean, this game, you couldn't ask for a better game, a better showing for the Miami Hurricanes, because in years past, you would think the Miami Hurricanes would have got blown out like last year, 45-3, which that team was not good at all, not good at all. But I said this before, Miami's defense is way better than it was last year. And even though we was missing two cornerbacks in this game, Miami was able to, didn't allow Keon to get off. He had that huge punt return and a touchdown, but we didn't allow him to control the game and did the things that we need. Jacoby George, against Florida State, he had 5 catches, 153, 2 touchdowns. He was averaging 30 yards a catch. You couldn't ask for more. Florida State had their hands full with him today. But like I said, Miami rallied in the game off of that play and unfortunately fell short. But Emory Williams did get hurt. He had a significant arm injury. He was going for a third down play, which he extended his arm and got, tackled at that point. They reviewed the players did stand, but there was one key play in the game where Miami was up, they was down 7-10, and they sacked Travis Jordan in the end zone, which they call it, they say he was still in the field of play, the ball was still in the field of play, but after multiple reviews, it showed clearly that he was tackled in the end zone. That should have been 9 points. They should have Miami would have had the ball back in great great territory, and possibly took the lead. Now, they did take the lead early on in the game when it was 13-10, but Florida State did came down and scored 13 points to tie it up. They went into halftime, tied. But Miami probably would have had a bigger lead. It could have been like 17. It could have been 20-10. Whatever the case might be. Or could have been 16. Yeah, it could have been 16. 9? It could have been 9, 19, 21. Let me see. It could have been like 16. Yeah, 16. It would have been like probably about 16, something like that. Whatever the case might be. Miami would have had probably a 7-point lead. But Miami came in this game as a 14-point underdog, which they lost by 7. over and under. But Florida State, like I said, they're a great team. I'm not taking nothing away from them. A lot of people thought this game was going to be a blowout. And I said it would have been a blowout if Tyler Van Dyke had started. But nevertheless, Tyler Van Dyke came in the game for Emory Williams because he got injured. And we could have gone down the field. We had enough time on the clock. We could have gone down the field trying to score, send it in overtime. But guess what? Tyler Van Dyke threw an interception. Now people say, well, ain't Tyler Van Dyke fault because he was on the bench and, and all of this stuff. Me personally, I could care less because the fact of the matter is Tyler Van Dyke is a veteran. So therefore, it's not like he's a freshman or a sophomore. He's a veteran. So he knows how to come in game situations. He came in the game when Derrick King got hurt, and he played well, and then he started and he took off. So what's the difference in this game? Not a difference. He rolled out. He tried to force the ball to Xavier Strepro, and guess what? It got picked off. It was an interception. That's what Tyler Van Dyke does. Those picks. And if he started this game, I believe Florida State would have ran all over us. But Emory Williams, I'm going to go back to Emory Williams. Emory Williams showed a lot of poise today. Unfortunately, the young man got hurt. But this team was poised. They showed great stability. They did the things they need. Emory Williams passed for 175, 2 touchdowns. He was only sacked twice, and against a great Florida State defense. And this is where you have to take your hats off and give Mario some kind of credit because of building the offensive line and the defensive line. You only gave up 2 sacks in this game to a Florida State team. You know what I'm saying? Then Chaney had 85 rushing yards. Fletcher had 47. Smith has 6. So you actually Florida State gave up over 100 yards rushing, which we knew that they couldn't stop. But they tightened up in the second half by stopping our run because they knew our run was our bread and butter. And they wanted to make us pass. But we needed our receivers to step up a little bit. Rashard Smith didn't do much today. Isaiah Harden didn't do much today. So but Jacoby George stepped up and gave us the plays that we needed today. So, I mean, you can't think of nothing else. You can't even say anything else about that. If you look at Travis, if you think about it, Travis was sacked 3 times. We sacked him 3 times today. He did throw for 265, only 1 touchdown. Benson, he had that big 30. If you take that 38-yard run away, he wouldn't even have close to that. Now, we didn't give up 100 yards. That's good. Travis, we had a minus 30 because he got sacked 3 times. We didn't give up 100-yard receiving. Wilson, he came back in the game, came back today along with Keon Coleman. And Coleman, he was shut down most of the game. He only had, 4 catches for 24 yards. But Wilson had the most. He had 82. Douglas also had 69. So you really think this was a kind of like a defensive battle between these teams. The only thing is, Morales missed that 50-yard field goal. So if you think about that safety, that field goal, that would have been 12 points for 12 points right there, plus the other plus another field goal that would have gave them 15. Then they would have had 22. And it would have been like 22-20. You know what I'm saying? So, and then, 27. So they would have had a chance to win the game by a touchdown. It would have been probably 29-24. So, all in all, I think the Hurricanes did a great job. Now, I did say the key to the game for Miami was trying to control the clock, which they tried to do. Now, they did. The time of possession is almost about even between these two teams because Miami was 29-20 in time of possession to Florida State 30-40 because they was trying to run the ball to slow things down because they didn't want to get the ball back to Miami. Total yards, Miami has advantage of that. Miami has 335 total yards to Florida State 322. Now, Florida State passed 61 yards, 62 yards more than Florida State, but Florida State didn't run the ball as well. You know what I'm saying? They only had 57 yards, and 30 of them was minus because of the sacks. Miami had 131. Now, first downs, Florida State had the edge, 17-13, but another area of concern was penalties. Miami had 7 to their 3, and that what killed them a lot because the pass interferences. Miami could have got some pass interference, but they ran the same amount of plays, 64, 62. Miami had more sacks, 63. 3-2. Nevertheless, no matter how you look at this game, we can nitpick it all day. I really don't have too much of a problem. Just the referee part of the game. I had the referee part of the game is my concern because that was a safety. That could have been a turning point because Miami was getting momentum. That kind of killed their momentum because Miami had to force Florida State to punt the ball, and since Florida State had to punt, Miami had to go down and they had to settle for a field goal instead of a touchdown because if Miami had got a touchdown, it would have been 17. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things. Just think about it. If they got the safety, that would have been 9 points on the books. They got a touchdown, that would have been 16. No, that would have been, that would have been 16. So I just feel like right now, Miami do have something to grow on. They do have something to build on. They do have something to really hold their hats on. This game was a rivalry game. You think about it, a lot of recruits is there, and they're going to be split. They were like, well, hey, Miami ain't that far away. They just need this, which they are. Miami is not that far away. I mean, you expect Miami going to this game. Miami has close games all year long. The only game that wasn't really close was the North Carolina game, but they came back and made it close at the end. But if Emory Williams I said this before, if Emory Williams had started after that North Carolina game, he would have been more prepared and he would have beat Florida State. He would have probably beat Florida State. That is something that I hold dearly to myself to say, that's what I feel. I'm not going to sit here and place blame, but I still fought Tyler Van Dyke because we had a chance to move the ball down the field. He threw an interception that killed the game. I would rather see Ja'Cory Brown came in. Ja'Cory did play against them last year. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather see him do that. Come in the game. You know, a lot of people say, well, Ja'Cory Brown threw an interception. He can't read. We don't know that was last year. We don't know what he is this year. So why not bring him in again to see what he has? Now, if Mario don't have confidence in him, then that's a whole nother different story for another different day. You know what I'm saying? But I do like how Miami played today against Florida State. I don't have too much to nitpick over because the fact the defense showed up. Emory Williams played great. The receivers did everything they can. But at the same time, at the end of the day, we still are experienced quarterback away for really getting over the top. And I think that's what's going to propel Miami to be that juggernaut, that team that really, you know, all these close games that they lose in this year, experienced quarterback will probably dominate, you know, move the ball a little bit better. And I think that's what Miami is going to look for next year. They're going to look in the transfer portal for quarterback play, stellar quarterback play, veteran quarterback play that's going to propel them over the top because that's what they need right now. You could still groom your young quarterbacks later on down the line, you know what I'm saying? But I think Emory Williams, he's going to be hurt, so he won't be too healthy coming back. But guess what? You got a guy in him that could carry the torch if need to be. rather Ja'Cory Brown stay or go. I don't think they're going to keep Tyler Van Dyke, but that's something for my podcast on Tuesday night when I do Kings on the Daily, where I could go in more in depth, and I definitely probably have a special guest, Alonzo from Kings World. You follow him on YouTube, but anyway, right now the Miami Hurricanes don't have nothing to hang their hat off. If they close out these last two games and go 8-4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, they go 8-4. They beat Louisville, beat Boston College. They go 8-4. Hey, but I would love to see Ja'Cory Brown finish the season. I don't want to see no more Tyler Van Dyke. I already know what Tyler Van Dyke is. Tyler Van Dyke is going to lose these last two games for us, period. If you notice, the play calling was a little bit different with Emory Williams. They was able to do certain things, and I think the more Emory Williams would get comfortable in that offense, if Emory Williams was started in that offense from the beginning of the season, you would probably see a little bit more different things from the Miami Hurricanes. But you don't. So that's what it is. But at the end of the day, Miami played an excellent. They played a really good game. They didn't give up too many big plays. They only had one big play. You know what I'm saying? And that's on special teams and Trey Benson's run. That's it. They stayed after Jordan Travis. They knocked him down and everything. They did everything that they needed to do to keep themselves in the game, and they didn't let the game get out of control. Now, I do have to say that Mario Dome, for whatever reason, they need to move on from Tyler Van Dyke, period. That's my only thing. They need to move on from Tyler Van Dyke. They need to really focus on the future. Either you're going to get some guys in there. I still think they need more cornerback play. I still think they need better wide receiver play. I still think they need to add more depth to the offensive line and defensive line. I think, add more great safety help. There's a lot that this team can do. Now, granted, this team did start a lot of freshmen. So you got to look at that and say, well, hey, you got to tip your hat off to the Miami Hurricanes for that. But nevertheless, Miami has shown better. This is probably one of their best games, losing today by playing decent and not allowing the game to, not turning the ball over. No turnovers in the game. And they was able to cut down on penalties. They would have probably given a chance of more. They gave themselves a chance to win the game, but the penalties kind of hurt them because that gave Florida State more momentum to keep the drives alive. And they didn't let Florida State dictate the game. They didn't let Florida State get too many explosive plays. That's what I liked about it. So Miami Hurricanes could take their hat off of there and to say, hey, you know what? This is what we did. So without that, be sure to stay tuned on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock for Kings on the Daily, where we'll break down the whole game and see what the next two games hold for Miami and whatever the case may be. I picked Miami to win. I wanted them to win, but at the end of the day, I knew it was going to be a tall task. But Florida State is 10-0, rightfully so, and Miami is 6-4 with 2 games left. So with that being said, I'm out.